back to the regular podcast once again. We got another video for you guys. This time we're going to be looking at the latest Marvel project, their special presentation, Werewolf by Night. So, right off the bat, what's your thoughts about this?
I
It was
mean,
cool.
yeah, exactly. It was cool. I I wouldn't say like it's one of the greatest things that Marvel put out. A lot of people on Twitter have been saying like, "Oh my god, like this is some of the greatest stuff some of the greatest comic book material that's been out in this year alone." Me personally, I don't see it that way. I thought it was just a cool thing, cool addition to the MCU.
I think it was good because it broke away from the usual stuff the MCU does. I'm kind of sick of it. Also, I just really like horror-esque things, and the gore was really cool too. But I think it was just interesting. And to be honest, when I look at it, I don't really think it's MCU, but obviously it
Mhm.
is. But it just doesn't really emanate that energy, which I think is great because I'm sick of this MCU crap that they've been doing. Just this stuff over and over. We finally got something different and new, and that's pretty much the only reason why I enjoyed it.
All right.
The main reason why I enjoyed it.
What about you, Zest God?
Uh, well, Davis was on like a lot of cap of this recent MCU crap, considering last week he was all just hyping up Daredevil. But no, I think Werewolf by Night was actually really good. Like I agree with what you said. Something like, it's not one of the greatest comic book things that's come out this year because that means putting it up against what came out this year: the Batman, Peacemaker,
That exactly. Peacemaker
Boys.
is that.
But in terms of like Marvel, I do think this is one of the greatest things they put out, just in terms of how original it is.
Phase 4.
Like in Phase 4 too, this is one of the best things of Phase 4. But I swear, every Marvel project that comes out recently, whether it's good or bad, they say the same thing. They always have Feige saying, "We wanted to take the MCU in a new direction. We wanted to do something different." Blah 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 blah. But like this time, it was actually something different. Like if you take away the MCU logo on this thing that plays before the movie, and you just have like something completely standalone and different, which is just awesome. And I think Werewolf by Night was just a really good like. It was a kind of new formula. Like they didn't do a show. They could have did a show just to add something to Disney Plus, stretch it out over
Yeah.
6 weeks, have some filler. But no, they just sat down. They basically made it like a made-for-TV movie. It's only like what 55 minutes, and I thought it was really
Yeah.
good. And I wouldn't be against seeing them tackle more obscure areas of Marvel and making them canon, but also having them in like just like an hour episode. I think they did a really
But
good job with Werewolf by Night
I mean, personally, if they made a show out of Werewolf by Night, of course I was gonna watch it, but I don't think I would be excited
because
about a
nobody
Werewolf
knows
by
this
Night
character.
show. Exactly,
Even I don't know
but
this
also the
character.
fact that the way that the MCU is right now is trying to find its identity again. We have this whole thing with the multiverse saga happening.
Right.
Where does Werewolf by Night and its characters fit into that?
Right.
You kind of question that. I just finished my rewatch of Loki again, and it's like, bro, what is that? Like, we just had this last year, but a year has gone by, and that hasn't related to anything in the MCU yet. And it's like, well, where would Werewolf by Night fit in at? So I'm down to see these characters again, especially Man Thing and Werewolf by Night himself, but Jack himself. But I mean, in terms of seeing them in movies, I don't know where they're gonna put these
One
characters,
thing I
which
like
is why I'm
is
kind
I
of
like
like, eh.
how, like you said, this MCU is trying to find its identity. How about this multiverse and cosmic stuff? We're gonna be having Kang coming. But then I kind of like what they've been doing recently with She-Hulk and Werewolf by Night. And what else we have? We have Moon Knight on the way. We're gonna have Blade. Not Moon Knight already have, but we have Blade. We have Daredevil coming. And I kind of like how while there is this multiverse stuff, that's a lot on that's a lot of things to focus on. Like we're gonna have all these little bits and pieces of threads leading up to these big Avengers movie, but then I want them to kind of have this side thing that's just like simple. Like it's just you have guys, pretty much normal people, nothing too outworld, just battling on the streets. And I think the MCU desperately needs some of that. So not every single project you're just wondering, all right, how is this gonna affect the timeline, the multiverse? That's something I think is really special about Werewolf by Night.
So David's like, how do you think these characters could fit in to like? The
Honestly, I have
multiverse
no
saga.
idea. I don't see them in any like huge film unless it's like a crazy crossover. And to be honest, I don't really see them anywhere near the next two Avengers movies, but I could be
I
wrong.
agree.
Um, but maybe some show of sort. Um,
I mean, I've been saying it this whole time.
I'll say
Midnight
nothing about Moon
Suns.
Knights. Okay,
Midnight
yeah.
Suns.
I mean, Midnight Suns is probably not gonna happen because
Why
it's
not?
too obscure for them to ever
Werewolf
put
by
that much
Night is
money
here.
into a
That's
show.
why they're doing this stuff. Dude,
Yeah,
Midnight
except
Suns is
Werewolf by
coming.
Night was a 55-minute made for TV movie, and Midnight Suns is an
And
obscure
what are people
comics
saying about
team
I
that no
agree.
one really
Werewolf by
knows
Night?
about. I mean, if they did Midnight Suns, they would um maybe just do a crossover and never call it the Midnight Suns because nobody really knows what that is.
I mean,
Exactly.
Like,
like
no
no one
offense
really
to
knows much about
anyone.
Literally
Thunderbolts.
nobody would know. But Thunderbolt, okay, bro,
Thunderbolts
with
are
Thunderbolts,
pre-established
you're putting.
characters,
That's
though.
what I'm saying. You're putting
What do you
pre-established
think they're
characters
doing
together,
now?
bro.
Do you know how we've
What?
seen so many?
What?
They have already shown so many Midnight Suns members on screen and have projects that are announced. Like, you guys
That's
can like
cap.
say they're Davis. Blade is Midnight Suns. Black Knight was a part of the Midnight Suns. Even though Morbius isn't canon, Morbius, you have Moon Knight, you have Werewolf by Night, you have Elsa Bloodstone, Wong, and Doctor Strange. The only people you're
Don't
really
care.
missing is Ghost Rider. I mean, you don't have to
Captain
care.
America.
You don't have to care.
Missing
But like,
Captain
that's
America,
what I'm
right?
like. You guys are saying you don't see where they fit in,
Spider-Man.
and I'm pretty sure that's where they're gonna fit in into the Midnight Suns.
I
Captain
mean,
America's not on the
you
Midnight
could
Suns.
be
They did
right.
that for the game.
You could be right, but it's just like my personal opinion. I don't really see them anywhere right now because it's a
Yeah.
little too obscure. I think we need to wait like a few years, see some announcements before we can really make that decision on
Like,
whether if
'cause,
that's what we think will happen. But right now, I just think this is something they did because they wanted to show Man Thing and Werewolf by Night, and that's really it.
yep. Show some more supernatural aspects into the MCU. But in terms of Midnight Suns, I mean, come on, like we have the multiverse saga happening here. We have Secret Wars. We have the Kang Dynasty. I mean, Thunderbolts in of itself, I think is such a weird idea. That's why I'm not that much. That's why I'm not excited for it because it's like, okay, where does this team fit in to the multiverse saga? Bringing in the Midnight Suns, another team, along with the Eternals and the Avengers, and then the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like,
But
bro,
did
we
y'all
have
remember
so many
Feige
teams
said that
here.
he wants to have this multiverse saga, but then he wants to have this street level universe too, with characters like Spider-Man and Daredevil at the forefront. Feige said
I
that
mean,
himself at D23. So I
yeah,
feel like
Feige did
everything we're
say that
seeing,
himself,
Werewolf
but
by
it's
Night,
like,
like I agree with you. Like this dude is not gonna be fighting up against Kang. But I do like this dude is gonna be part of the smaller universe of characters. It doesn't necessarily have like they don't necessarily have to all come together and be all in bold letters the Midnight Suns. But just as a broad terms, like you're gonna have these characters interacting with each other. Like you're gonna have a Blade kind of fighting in that same universe, that same recurrent characters made that Werewolf by Night is, or maybe in another Moon Knight season, or who knows. But I definitely think they're gonna have these Avengers as the multiverse saga, and then these smaller level characters as this kind of like secondary, still canon but ongoing saga, which could down the line lead to a Midnight Suns team up.
I mean, like, if they had just taken the Netflix stuff and done this from the beginning, none of this would ever happened. But no, it is what it is.
I'm just saying, dude, like, it was such a cool thing to have Werewolf by Night, and it wasn't like it didn't really connect to anything else in the MCU. It was different. They touched on a lot of the horror elements. I'm gonna touch on that again, but it was so different and unique that I really feel like they're gonna just bring this character back just because they want to do a Midnight Suns. Just because people on Twitter say, "Oh my God, they're introducing Blade and Moon Knight and now Werewolf by Night. Now we're gonna do Midnight Suns." I really want them to do more of these special presentation things and just have them be one-offs. Like we
Well,
can have
now
this
that I'm thinking
Werewolf
about
by
it,
Night
there's
thing,
one
bro.
So
thing that I
couldn't
Be a
think
Midnight
one-off.
Suns be a
maybe.
one-off? Like I don't get like it
I
But
mean,
sounds
that
like you
would
guys are just like
legit be a
so
sequel
you guys
to
are
that
just so
stuff.
like hating this idea of Midnight Suns. Oh, I hate it. Like y'all don't think it would
I
be
mean,
cool
But
to
it's
have a
just like
team
in
of
the
I
heroes
terms
up
mean
of
against
it,
that
street level
that
characters?
that would be cool, but
it would
first,
be
it's
cool.
already been done. And second off, I'd rather us have just standalone street level characters and maybe sometimes have like a one-off crossover with like 2 or 3 characters, and that's really it. Because I want to save the big crossovers for these Avengers films
Yeah.
and our Thunderbolts and our Fantastic Four. That's what I want it to be saved for.
Nah,
Because I want to
Again,
be able to
another
watch a
team,
disagree with
TV
that.
Fantastic
show.
Four is
I want to be
coming.
able to watch a TV show about one character, and then maybe that character be included in something small in the future, while I have the big Avengers stuff going on as well. Like I don't want everything to all smushed together, because then let's be honest, they're gonna mess it up if they do that.
Like, bro,
Unless
like
we
you're
have
gonna
some.
get fatigued. Like,
I'm
Yes.
fatigued of
Yes.
these
Yes.
main
it's just
Avengers. I'm fatigued of these main Avengers.
we don't have any main Avengers.
You know what I mean. We have these main cosmic characters. I'm fatigued of that. I want to see these street level characters. And that one of my favorite MCU movies, Age of Ultron. The thing I like about that is how you see these characters interacting. That's like the only movie we get to see those Avengers interacting like that. And then I think it would
I
just
was
be a shame
thinking.
to introduce all these like you have interesting characters like Werewolf by Night, Blade, Moon Knight. You're bringing Daredevil back, but then to just not have them interact with each other,
They
like
can
no,
interact with each other. I'm just saying, like, on a smaller scale.
it already is a smaller scale.
Yeah, but like, if they were to team up, what are they gonna team up against?
The supernatural,
That's
Dracula,
very vague.
Dracula, They could easily introduce Dracula out there. They can introduce a sort of cult-like thing, which we saw in Werewolf by Night, a cult of hunters.
So we have Kang, we have the leader, we have Dracula, we have a celestial head coming out of the earth. Multiversal madness is happening.
And not
It's
every
like
project is going to be the multiverse, and not every project is
The
going to
only
interact
thing
with
I
the
exactly,
believe
but
multiverse.
has
what
a future right now to be like a
Like, it's not like
big
every character they introduce now, you have to think about, all right, what is this character going to do when Kang shows up? Nothing, because this
the
character
only
isn't going to
thing
be
that
fighting
Werewolf
Kang.
by
but that's a
Night is
logical but
going
it's
to
a logical
spawn.
question,
Yeah,
right?
it's logical, but like that's not what they're going to do. Not every
Like when
character
they
introduced
introduced
on
Kate
screen is
Bishop,
going to fight leader
but
or
when they introduced Kate Bishop,
Kang,
we all questioned what is she gonna do against Kang? We
Die.
questioned that.
and she's
The
not going to
thing
fight
is
Kang.
that with Midnight Suns, where would that place inside of the MCU that they're trying, like the
I
release
mean, people
schedule?
have been saying the
Because it's
same
like,
thing about people like Hawkeye and Black Widow since the first Avengers.
but what I'm saying is
Well,
that where would Midnight Suns fit inside of the release schedule? We have so much stuff packaging out the entire year of 2023, the entire year of 2024. Where is this going to go? Where would you put Midnight Suns?
It could easily happen any
look,
time between
Jonathan,
now and
I
Secret
I'm
Wars or
glad
after Secret Wars.
I'm glad that you're excited in thinking that something
Don't
like that will
condescend me,
happen. But
Davis.
I will only think
Don't
something like that
condescend
will
me.
happen if we get Ghost Rider, and I don't think we're gonna get that for a while.
Dude, I literally have already planned out a perfect scenario. Not perfect, but a funny scenario. Dude, don't you think? Look, they had a guy named Donnie Blaze in She-Hulk. I think it would
That
be
was a
interesting
joke. They were doing
later
that to
down the
mess
line.
with you.
Listen to me. Listen. I think it would be funny later down the line. If later, where do you think he got the name Donnie Blaze from? From the popularity of Johnny Blaze, but he did Donnie Blaze, not take copyright infringement.
He got that name from the tears of Marvel fans. That's where he got it.
All right, look, Dave, you can say all this now, but as soon as they announce in the future Midnight Suns, and then they're gonna put Daredevil on the front, you're gonna be, oh, Midnight Suns is hype. Oh, this is gonna be so peak because Daredevil's in
On
it.
God. On
Yeah,
God,
because
it
Daredevil
will
is
be
peak.
when it
No,
when
I
it
feel like you guys
drops.
are just hating the
But
idea of
as of
Midnight
right
Suns
now,
because you see it on Twitter.
I don't ever see Midnight Suns on Twitter. But okay, back to what I was saying. The only thing I think could spawn from this little special that we have is something to do with the Bloodstone. I think the Bloodstone has potential to become something, maybe something Blade related. I don't really know,
Mm.
but it just feels like they'd be within that realm of stuff, or maybe
All
even
three
what
of the
was it, the
main
Black
characters
Knight?
in Werewolf by Night are on the Midnight Suns.
They are.
That's
Yes,
lit.
Cool.
Elsa Bloodstone, Werewolf by Night, and Man
That's
Thing.
cool.
All right, whatever.
I mean, but no, I mean, like, dude, like,
No, the Midnight Suns
cool.
is such a stupid idea. Whatever.
It's not
it's not a
stupid.
stupid idea. It's just like, where would they fit? Like,
Hey, look,
you
look,
you
look.
gotta understand that's
you
a
can
logical
completely
question.
prove us wrong, and I will just accept defeat
No, you won't.
if
Exactly.
it gets announced.
Oh, eat crow. But for me, dude, man, it's so much stuff with Marvel coming out that it's like, bro, I just want this to be a standalone thing. I like the fact that we had
It
this
is its
special
standalone
presentation,
thing. It is.
but then you
Like
want him to
you're
show up
thinking
in
it in the
something
scope
else.
that how is this character going to interact with Kang? When you should be
No, I'm
thinking of
thinking,
it is
yeah.
how
How
is
is
this
he?
gonna character and gonna interact with other characters in the street level universe? I'm telling you, they can do a street level MCU within the MCU without having it all have to be Kang.
Netflix.
Like it's not like everything they don't have to reference the Avengers every single time, and it can still be canon and it won't affect it.
Netflix.
The MCU is in an identity crisis, bro. I
I feel
think
like they know their identity. They're gonna have Feige said it himself. They're gonna have the multiverse and then they're
they're
gonna have the street level. That's its identities.
they're they're in a desperate need of a lead character, as in Tony Stark or Steve Rogers. Bro,
I don't agree with that.
me personally, man, I just what I'm just saying is that the one
Come on,
thing that I
Sterling, they
took
already
away
have
from
their
this,
face of Marvel.
what
And
you mean?
his name is
Feige said himself, we're
Daredevil.
gonna have Spider-Man and Daredevil at the front of the street level, and then the other characters at the front of the multiverse level. Feige said it
Bro,
himself. And
Daredevil can't even see, and Spider-Man is not even owned by by Disney.
all right,
He
man.
can't be the face of
These words are coming
Marvel.
from the
I
top,
don't
not
see them.
mine. Feige
I
said that
don't see.
himself at
The
Kevin
top.
D23.
Feige did not
Should be
say that
the
Spider-Man
top.
would be the
Dave
lead.
Stern, I promise you, can go literally. I literally saw on Twitter he was interviewed and he said he wants to have this multiverse. I don't remember the characters he said wants to be for the face of the multiverse, but he said for the street level characters he wants to have Spider-Man and Daredevil be the head. I promise you.
Yeah, but like, what does it have to do with the Midnight Suns?
The Midnight Suns are street level characters.
Supernatural.
That is still street level.
Oh. See, I like when Ghost Rider gets announced, then I'll believe you. But
Then exactly,
until
then
then,
I'll believe.
until then,
Dude, I promise you, when Ghost Rider or then whatever next character gets announced that's on the Midnight Suns, we're gonna come back here and you guys are gonna be saying the same thing. Oh, the Midnight Suns is a stupid idea. No, how is this gonna connect with Kang?
We never said it's a stupid
Who says
idea. We
that?
just said where would he go? Like how would this fit?
Look,
But I
if
mean,
they shoved it into Phase 5, we would have another case of quantity over quality. I think that's definitely
exactly.
what would happen.
But Werewolf by Night was
So
good, wouldn't you say?
if they do it, they should say Werewolf by Night
Werewolf
was
by Night was a
55
standalone.
minutes.
That's
It was not.
exactly. It was a 55-minute special.
But it was canon.
It was a 55
Okay.
minute Halloween special that really didn't connect to the MCU at all. It was different.
Exactly.
And
It didn't connect.
Mean.
But it was
Not
canon.
exactly, it didn't
Which
connect.
means
But
it's gonna
you
come
want
back in the
but you want a crossover special with Moon Knight, Blade. Blade is a character that's coming from a movie. Werewolf by Night, he already had his special. Moon Knight had a first season. Like Daredevil is coming from No Way Home.
Doctor Strange and Wong, they're on the Midnight Suns.
Exactly.
Both
So you
in
want Doctor
movies.
Strange from 2 movies, Wong from.
I wouldn't be against it. Like, why are you guys so against these characters
I
teaming
wouldn't
up?
be against it. It's just like, where would it go?
You think they couldn't find a way to make it through, fit in? Davis even said himself, like, this Bloodstone could lead to stuff in the future with Blade. We haven't seen Blade, but we know the enemy is going to be Dracula.
Well, with the word "could," the answer is always yes.
So then, what? That's such a cop out thing. Yeah, I guess
back to Werewolf by Night.
Yes.
Back to Werewolf by Night. I just want to say one thing about it, and that it's put in the horror genre, and it was not scary. In my opinion, it just wasn't scary. I didn't find nothing scary about it.
I mean, Stanley, it's trying to be an early or late 60s horror flick.
Yeah.
Or was it 70s? So obviously it's not scary, but the way it was emulating it, I think they did great. Like, as of today's standards, it's not scary, but back then
it probably would have been scary. It probably would have been
scary. So I think it was great. I think the representation of what it was trying to be was great.
Yeah, because the guy who directed it is the guy that scored like Spider-Man Homecoming, the Homecoming trilogy, the Batman, Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange. Like, this guy scored so many movies, and he even did The Incredibles too. So that's what I was really excited for, because he was directing this special and he was doing the score for it, and I love musical scores by him. So I mean, that's what really got me excited for it. Overall, my final thoughts on Werewolf by Night is that it's a cool thing. It's not one of the best additions to the MCU, but it's a cool thing to have in the MCU. And I wish Marvel would do more things like this. Just one-offs that are different and creative, that doesn't have to connect to the MCU. Because we can have both and. We can have the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then we can have the Marvel one-offs on Disney Plus or something like
The
that.
Marvel Cinematic Special Presentation Universe.
Yeah, something like that. I think that would be interesting. That's the whole reason why I'm.
MCSPU.
That's exactly like that's the kind of like the whole reason why I'm kind of opposed to the idea of Midnight Suns, because I like the fact that this is a one-off. We have Werewolf by Night, and it's separate. Let's keep that separate. Like
Nah, I
let's
completely
do
hate the
something with
idea of
that.
just setting up these interesting characters and then just being like, okay, yeah, we're done. That was a one-off. You're never gonna see this character again.
I mean, you can go ahead
Come on,
and set them up for their own
Ultron.
standalone TV series. Go ahead, you got
What do you
that.
mean,
But like,
Ultron? Ultron wasn't just there and then he was done. The effects of what Ultron did
I
and what
mean,
happened were in the MCU for countless movies. That you can't say Ultron is in the same vein as something like Werewolf by Night.
yeah, but like, Ultron just killed Quicksilver though, right? And
Yeah.
like blew up and made them blow up the thing and made them sign the Soviet
Sokovia,
Accords.
which
But
led to the
the
Sokovia Accords, which
Sokovia
led to the
Accords don't
Avengers
matter no
breaking
more.
apart. When the Avengers broke apart, they weren't prepared to defeat Thanos, which led to Thanos winning, which led to them having to go
Ronan
back and
the
defeat that
Accuser.
in Endgame. So no,
Ronan
But
the
like,
Accuser.
I would love to see more things start off like more obscure characters that a lot of people don't know about, like Werewolf by Night start off rather than just doing a series or having them randomly show up. I would love to see them start off in this format because I feel like what Werewolf by Night did is completely set me up. It's like, okay, I understand the gist of the character, I understand his motivations, and I'm now if he shows up in the future, I won't be confused. So I
like
like this
my
format of the special presentation, but
yeah, I get you, but
no,
like,
I think it'd just be
there's
a
one
waste to
big
do all these
issue.
things, but then not bring them back. That's just
There's
like a
one
huge
big
waste.
issue with all the stuff Marvel's doing right now, especially this presentation. You know, this presentation took away time that they could have been using for Daredevil Born Again. That's like one of
Right,
my only
right.
ness. Like,
But then
if
again, Born
since this
Again
was
is going to be
created,
filming all year next year.
Born Again could have been better than it was before. Feel
They
me?
could have used half of that budget that they used for Werewolf
Exactly. And all
by
this
Night.
budget they using for Mid Hulk, they could be using for
Yeah,
Born Again.
the budget that they're using for Echo
Oh my
could be
God.
going to Daredevil Born Again. You're right about that. Now, I mean, again, dude, I just can't express how much I want just it to be standalone. I mean, I said it all the way back in Moon Knight. I dare them to have Moon Knight just separate from the rest of the MCU. Obviously, they're not going to do that, just like they're not going to do that with Werewolf by Night. We already know this. But I dare them to just take a singular character from the comics and make a creative 55-minute special with them like they did with Werewolf by Night and not have it tie into anything MCU related. Like, we know it's made by Marvel Studios. It's a special presentation by Marvel Studios and it's separate. So we can just tell a singular story about a character and don't have to worry about where it's going to lead up next. Where this character is going to lead up. Is going to lead up in Midnight
All right,
Suns or is
this
going to
video's
lead up
getting
in
long,
Kang
so I'm not
Dynasty?
gonna debate it. Sure. That's your
You
opinion.
don't
I
have to
respect
debate
it.
it. Nice.
You know, you guys didn't respect my
Anyway,
opinion, so
but
it's whatever.
Well, all in
yeah, I
all,
do respect.
I give this a nice little like 8.9 out of 10.
8.9. Wow, that's high.
Yeah, it was what it was.
8.9. I'd say I give it a 8.6. Right there, high B. Not giving it an A.
It's not A worthy, but it was good.
It was good. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Cool thing.
Jonathan?
I'm gonna give Werewolf by Night 9 out of 10 for actually finally doing something different, which they keep saying they're gonna do. But Werewolf by Night, I feel like it's the only thing to actually truly break free of the form and do something different. And it gave us an interesting character, which I'm excited to see more of in the future.
Right.
Yeah. Only one I care about is Man Thing.
Yeah, agree. But anyway, that is it for the Werewolf by Night review, spoiler review, discussion. Where could this guy lead up next? Predictions. I don't know what we're gonna call it. But please know that everything that we did say in this video is just our very own opinion. If you have made it this far, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we are the Regular Podcast, and we'll see you all next time.